It's a good cue. Well, welcome to creating a powerful online presence for your unit. We appreciate you being here, and I think we've learned something important this morning already, and that is that there's a lot of great information, and it would be great if all of us could go to all of it. And so we're probably going to make some changes in the afternoon so that you don't have to make a choice between topics. So thank you for being here. So just by way of introduction, my name is Neil Robinson. I'm the Vice President of Communications for Vanguard and a longtime scouter. I've been a Wood Badge course director, and in my professional life, I spent about 30 years making video games. And so you can blame me for a lot of it, but not all of it. I had the opportunity to contribute to the Game Design Merit Badge, which is one of my favorites, clearly. And I also do quite a bit of marketing and digital video creation. So I'm excited to talk about this. Let me introduce.
I'm Sue Karataki. I'm recently associated with the Vanguard Association, mainly because of who I know. I am a gamer. Professionally, I am a server engineer for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Scoutmaster of Troop 72 down in Spanish Fort, formerly 1910, formerly 871, formerly, and I always end up being the web admin for each of these different units that I'm a part of. Currently, I'm also Assistant Scoutmaster of a program for Wood Badge coming up in September. Go ahead and register now if you haven't already been, or sign up someone without their permission. We can use all the participants, and frankly, everyone needs to be Wood Badge trained. So that's my plug for that.
Thanks, Sue. Okay, what I would like to know, since we've got a smaller group, we can get a little more intimate here. I would, if you're willing to respond, raise your hand and tell me what you'd like to get out of this session, so that we make sure that what we had planned delivers on some of your expectations. Anybody willing to share what they'd like to learn about in this session?
I'm primarily here just to give Super a hard time. So
Good. I think you're right on track.
that works. Then
Yeah. Let's make sure we stay committed to that. Great. In the back.
Yeah, I affiliate with a unit that's been around for 100 years, and they have a web presence,
Yeah.
but it's last time it was updated was back in '94.
Whoops.
And whoever has permission for that website,
Yeah.
we're having a hard time tracking down who owns that. And so, would it be better to get to
Burn it.
or make a new one?
All right. This is good. We're going to
We'll
talk.
get to that. That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Great question. So thank you. Yes, I'm here in the front.
I need a step-by-step I can hand to unit leaders.
I'm sorry.
I need a step,
There we go.
If you
Now
don't
we
talk
can.
in the mic, you won't be able to hear it online. Sorry,
Thank you.
broadcast guys.
That's
I would
great.
really love a very simple step-by-step guide for unit leaders to implement in their programs.
Okay. All right. We'll see what we can do about that. Question here. And thank you for volunteering to be our microphone person. I appreciate that.
I'd like to learn how to use a computer.
I'd say that probably falls a little out of the scope of this session, but thank you.
Related to recruiting, they may be talking about this in the other room. I'd like to know, in layman's terms, a little bit about how geofencing works and that kind of thing, so that we can target our message.
Okay. Okay. All right. This is wonderful. Well, I'll tell you what we had planned on talking about, and we will make sure that we. Oh, sorry. One more.
Just one other point maybe we could talk about is how technology can be leveraged to be more efficient and to get programmed to scouts quicker and maybe in less numbers of meetings.
All right, well, that's interesting. That's probably going to be also outside the scope of this, but I have an entire, I did my, my commissioner's dissertation actually on that topic. So we might have to chat later on that one.
We can touch on it on a certain slide,
Yeah.
but yeah, I are totally.
Awesome. Well, we want to talk about why your unit should create a powerful online presence, and then talk a little bit about getting started for those of you that maybe just dipped your toes into the water. We're going to talk a little bit about that. My good friend here is going to talk about websites and positioning them and what you can do. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about social media, which is growing as an instrument or a tool to create an online presence. So that's where we're headed right now. So let's start with why. You seem to all be here for a reason, but let's talk about why we want to have an online presence. Well, one that was brought up is recruitment. Absolutely. That this is a tool to allow you to project an image of who you are and what your program is all about. Something that really communicates the value of scouting and gets that across to an intended audience. Number two, you think about when you go and buy a new car, if you're lucky enough to do that these days, one of the things that a dealership will do will reinforce your positive decision. That is, they'll make you feel good about the fact that you chose to buy that car. Same thing here, that an online presence will help strengthen a parent's choice for them to have their children in scouting. We want to reinforce that, because then when they feel good about the choice that they've made, because they have lots of choices, right? There's a whole number of things. When they feel good about that choice, they're more likely to evangelize. And we talked about this, we heard it mentioned that that's how grassroots recruiting happens. So it's really about making those parents feel really good about their children being in the program and seeing the benefits of that represented in an online presence. Some use social media and the website to simply keep their units informed. Whether you have the password to the website or not, that's a vehicle for being able to make sure that people are all sort of in sync about what's happening. And so you can utilize that as well. And then in a really unique way, this online presence actually is a way of documenting your unit history. Now, there's some things that you want to do to make sure you preserve that history. But it's really fascinating, right? You look right now, if you pull up your phone and you actually look back through all the pictures that are on there, most of us have thousands of pictures on our phones, right? Suddenly you have a little snapshot of your own personal history through all those pictures. Well, the same thing is this online presence is a way of sort of preserving your unit history. So, let's talk a little bit about getting started. One of the best ways to do this is by following the principle that we teach over and over and over again in scouting, and that is be prepared. You want to actually have a plan for how you want to address your online presence, as opposed to just let's throw everything at the wall and let's see what sticks. You want to have a definite plan, and that means who's going to do it, where are you going, what's the messaging that you want to get across. Remember, we talked about you're projecting what your program's all about. So really having a plan ahead of time is great. You want to identify very specific content creators in your unit, whether that's scouts or that's adults. You want to probably have a little bit of both. I think we all know that scouts these days have an incredible knowledge of social media and online presence, far greater than most of us in the room, right? Let's tap into that. Let's enable that to contribute to your unit's online presence. And do it in a structured way, right? In Wood Badge and in other parts of scouting, we learn about the EDGE method, right? And there's a great way to apply the EDGE method to enable or empower a scout, but do it in a way where there's some guidelines, right? Then one other thing in getting started is really to share your plan or your intentions with not only your committee and your leaders and your scouts, but also the parents, more importantly. Give them a little bit of an idea of what you're trying to do. I've found in doing this with units that by doing that, you actually start to get input from folks. And maybe you can shape or change that plan and get them to buy into what you're doing. You also want to sort of, on a privacy side, you want to let them know that you're going to be posting pictures about the unit and what's going on. You'll want to get permission from those parents to be able to include pictures of some of the youth, and want to be really careful about not posting pictures where you don't have that express permission from parents to do so. There are some parents we've probably met a lot of them that are very concerned about the images of their children online. And so that's something that you want to get out of the way at the beginning as part of your plan to make sure that they understand what are you intending to do. And some may say, I want to opt out of that. And that's okay. That's all right. You can do some things digitally to do that, but you can also be a little more careful and strategic about some of the decisions that you make. Does that make sense? Okay. And then on getting started, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you update your beascout.org pin. Zook's going to talk about that in a minute in a little more detail. But I would say overall, in my experience in marketing and digital marketing, the first question you want to ask is, who is your target audience for your online presence? Who is it? Is it the youth? Is it the parents? Is it parents of youth that are currently not in your unit? The more that you can refine that target audience, the more focused your online efforts are going to be, and you're going to be able to pour your energy and your resources in an agreed upon and focused way, rather than trying to appeal to every single audience. You want to really select a target audience for your online presence. So it's something to consider. And when you're doing that, the question I would like you to answer: what problem is your scouting unit going to solve for parents? What is it? So let me ask you, just really quickly, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but in your opinion, for your unit, I only want you to speak for your unit, but what problem is your scouting unit going to solve for parents? I'd love to hear, and I've got my trusty microphone partner here who's going to help me hear your question or your answer. Excuse me.
We have a couple inner city kids that the parents are concerned with who they're spending time with.
Yeah. So you're saying that your unit is going to provide a safe, healthy learning environment for those parents who are concerned about some of the groups that they might be hanging out with. That's great. That's great. Wherever you want to go. Yeah, I'm gonna let you lead this one.
A lot of our parents are looking for community and just good activities for their kids to be involved in.
I love it, and these are connected, right? These ideas. So we're really starting to zero in. So the reason I'm asking the question, and I want to hear another answer, is because this is starting to help you figure out what your plan is for your online presence. If that's the problem that you think it's going to solve for parents, then let's reinforce that in the content that we share, in the pictures, and the messages that we do. Yes, sir.
I was thinking of the two words that come to mind, which is adventure and leadership.
Yeah.
You know, that when you're on a youth sports coach, and I've been a youth sports coach, the coaches plan, organize, train, develop. There's very little leadership involved with that.
Yeah.
And a lot of organizations our students belong to, our youth, are singular focused, which is just like a sport or music or something like that, dance, theater. Whereas scouting is a connection to not just a community, but a whole world, literally when you go to World Jamborees, but a whole different venue and avenue of activities.
Absolutely.
So it's be prepared for life is the great model, because it's fitness, character, citizenship, it's all those things that connect them.
I love it. I love it. You're absolutely right. So if the problem that your scouting unit is going to solve is leadership and outdoor activities or activities in general, then let's make sure your online presence reflects that, so that you're really, really, really zeroing in on that. Okay, we're good. You can take a seat for now. You're doing a great job, by the way. I'm gonna give you a raise. Yeah, it's awesome. All right. And so with that, let's transition to that part of getting started, and that is about the beascout.org pin. So Zook, take it away.
Okay, so first off, who is familiar with beascout.org? Everyone should be, right? Okay. There was a great question earlier about how do we set up geofence. Well, geofencing can be kind of expensive if you do it an SEO route or search engine optimization. If you're doing targeted ads, that can also be expensive. We're thrifty, right? We use the tools that are already there, and we do it without having to dip into our troops' funds. Well, Scouting.org has provided the easiest way to do that, and that is beascout.org. We're going to show screenshot of it here if you have not seen it in action. But first off, some instructions. You can put these up one at a time so you can write them down, or I see a lot of people taking pictures. That's fine. First off, you're going to log into your own my.scouting.org. Okay? This is going to have to be done by the key 3. Any member of the key 3 can do this. For reference again, that is your unit leader, that is your committee chair, and that is your charter organization representative, COR. Okay, from there, you're going to go into menu, then your organization manager. And don't feel bad if you forget this, because every time I go into my.scouting.org, I have to click every single freaking menu to remember where it is. The only thing I can remember is my training. Go to the unit pin, which will be on the left-hand side. Again, I'll show you a screenshot here in a moment. And for privacy reasons, they don't have this as default, but you need to select up here on Be a Scout and allow online applications. Now, you don't have to be really familiar with computers, but you really do want to allow online applications. Many studies have proven, none of which I have immediately here for you, but if someone is doing it right then and there on their laptop or on their tablet or on their phone, they want to do it right then. They don't want to have to, oh, I need to write down this phone number and call this person individually. Question back?
So if I could do your real life example for that, when we move back,
When we moved back from Transatlantic Council about a year ago, I actively was searching for a unit for my kids to scout in. I only paid any attention to units that I could register online and who had an active social media account. I wasn't interested in any other units.
And it's not even a bad thing. I mean, we do this every day when we do online shopping. If you give me a product and you have a buy it now sticker right there, I'm going to click buy it now. Never mind the fact I might be able to get it for a couple dollars cheaper from another site, so long as I call their customer service line and send in money through mail. And other question?
No, I was just going to agree that for the generation of parents that we are attempting to recruit now, paper is the devil. None of them have written checks. None of them filling out an application, a piece of paper application to apply for a job is like unreal to them. So especially in on the Scouts side, maybe not, but on the Cub Scout side, if they're brand new parents and those are their oldest kids, or those Cub Scouts, they don't know. They're like, it's a whole other world to them to newspaper.
No one is mailing cash or money order to the following address. No one even knows what those screens look like. And you say the type of parents you're trying to recruit. Well, I am actually one of those parents. I have 4 kids myself. 4 kids with very different interests. And if I can sign one up for volleyball right there on my phone, switch tabs and move over to the Scout Camp. Yep, register for Scout Camp, awesome. Switch tabs over to, we need to cancel this music lesson. Switch tabs over to moving my doctor's appointment around. Parents are multitasking.
In our unit's case, over the past year, we have had 7 new scouts join our unit through the joint scouting here with and looking at our pin. One of which was just like this gentleman. Parents were moving back to Salt Lake from Washington, D.C., and before they even came out here, they got online, checked out the units that are on there, and we were lucky enough to be one that they selected. So it does work, and doing the online applications is great because that's exactly what they do. They get on their phone, process everything, and it's done.
I saw another hand over here on the opposite side. Pass that down. I'm going to advance so you guys can see the screenshot here while we're doing that.
So going back a slide, I just logged into my scouting. You have to select your unit, then you get organization manager.
Organization manager or unit manager?
Let me go back.
All right, so
What was the organization manager?
Here's where we're okay. Yeah, I'm dead serious. I put that slide together earlier this week, and I went through step by step, and I swear every time it changes or I misremember it, every time. But yes, it is something manager, and only the key 3 have access to it. When you're in it, it's going to look like this. Okay, you see right up there at the top, up here on Be a Scout. If that is not checked, none of the rest of this matters. Okay. Under that, allow people to apply online. You do not have to build the application; it handles it for you, which is really nice. You can change the way that the applications are handled. You can have it so just the COR can approve. You can say that the COR can recommend and the committee chair has to approve. Those are really your only 2 options. Take as many hurdles out of the application process as possible. Make it as simple and streamlined as possible. Have a question to that?
This is really exciting, but I'm in a different context. I'm in a district position in a location where we don't have any troops. And I've got to set up a public presence so that we can begin to bring people in so that we can establish 1, 2, maybe 4 different units.
Well, and we are going to get into that here. I'm glad you brought that up. This will still help people in your area, though, even if units might be slightly outside of a comfortable radius, so they can get an idea. Another question?
When they first came out with Be a Scout, they did have an option for coming soon units, and that seems to have gone away. Is that, do you know if that's something that they're going to put back in there? That would help them immensely.
Be a Scout has been under a lot of flux, and we heard this before in this morning's session, a lot of the cutbacks that happened to the National Council. Unfortunately, one of the first departments that was let go, as is typically the case, and I say that not from scouting, but as a person who works in IT, it's the developers and the IT support. We're usually just overhead, and that's kind of what happens. I know that this page itself changes frequently. Last time I was on it, it had like a QR code generator, so you could actually develop a QR code and put it onto material. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a great fit. I had to do that myself. But the thing I do want to bring up here is that you have the choice here to put whatever text you want. And we're going to show what that looks like. Do not leave it blank. Okay, like he said, if they don't have a PIN, if they don't allow online applications, you know what else is going to look really bad? Insert text here. Ipsum lorem, okay? That's not going to look very good. When that is done, you go to beatscout.org, you put in your zip code, and you say what kind of unit you're looking for. This is my unit, this is our PIN, and this is how it looks right now. Okay, it has our COR's name, it has his contact information, it has what kind of troop we are. We are currently boy only. We are working on having